Hello, everybody. I'm a practicing therapist and a doctoral student of psychology. Today, I want to talk about the difference between an avoidant that chooses you, not just wants you. Because an avoidant can want you, but not choose you. And actually, what's very interesting is if they want you, you can turn that into choosing you, but you need to know the difference. And we talk about how to do those things on this channel anyways. But first, I want you guys to know where you're at. Because another thing is sometimes you're chosen, but you feel like you're not wanted. And that can be also difficult as well. Typically with an avoidant, if they choose you, it feels sometimes, especially if they're not healed, it might not feel very romantic. And so you might be chosen, but you don't feel chosen or loved. And so it is important to understand this distinction. You want to have both, but one or the other can turn into both. And so it's really important to realize that. So when an avoidant chooses you, the main indicator is it's usually slow but consistent progress. However, sometimes it can feel very mechanical. Whereas if someone wants you, they're usually in and out of your life. They're always wanting you. They're never letting you go. But the progress is not necessarily there. How you can see this transform from one to another is if they want you and when they come back, there's actually some progress. If you start seeing that, now it's a sign that they want you and they choose you. And I think you guys want that, right? And so I made a video recently about the difference between wanted and valued, the truth about love and commitment on this channel, and some folks were confused. So I'm hoping to clear some of that up today. So the first one is when they choose you, it's based on commitment. The focus is they respect you for who you are as a person. Let's say you're intelligent. They might refer you as an intelligent person verbally. They might say, you're smart, you do this, whatever it is, right? They know that instinctively. They know it, not instinctively, they know it like directly, right? The next one could be like, the next example of this is like, let's say you're a picky eater. They might know this. I'm a picky eater, so I picked that one. My significant other knows how picky I am. And I know everything he eats because I cook for him, but he's the one that usually sets up the dates. And interesting enough, I think I've shared this before, he orders my food for me. I don't think that's a bad thing. Like, I don't take that as a bad thing at all. If anything, I know that he feels like he likes doing that. But it's interesting because he's always, when he's trying to pick the restaurant, he's thinking about what I'm going to eat. And then when he's choosing on the menu of what I'm going to order, he knows what I like. And so I already know that he's so comfortable doing that stuff. And I always trust him, and I never try to interrupt that of him, because before, when he first started doing that in our relationship, I would always say, oh, you don't have to. Like, I'm not like, you don't have to. I don't mean to pressure you. And he's like, this is what I want to do. Like, you have to let me do this because this is what I want. So then I was just like, okay, I'm going to back off. You do what you need to do. And so they just know that, and they're just going to operate on the knowledge that they know. Sometimes it depends, but this is just an example. And the motivation is the next point that we want to talk about. When they choose you, they have motivation regarding the relationship or correcting something that sometimes you might not understand. They might not like seeing you upset. They might eventually correct something that was bothering you because it hurt you. It hurt your feelings. It made you feel bad. Maybe they want to change because they feel like it's causing conflict, right? That was one thing that was a motivation for me to change. I don't like conflict. And I felt like we were having conflict by some of the behaviors I was having. He was upset about it. He made assumptions about me that wasn't true. He felt like I didn't like him, and none of that was true. So I'm like, okay, I don't blame him for feeling that way. So let me just fix it so that we stop fighting about this. And I know that doesn't sound super romantic at all, but I did it because I cared. The next one is the nature of the relationship. It's usually long-term and meaningful. If someone chooses you, it's very long-term and meaningful. And usually it's, you guys have been together for a while. Even if you feel like they don't care, if they're there with you, they choose you. Their behavior is usually that they are there even during the challenging times. This one is hard because avoidants don't like challenging times. And so even them being with you, if you guys had one fight, it sounds strange, and you survived that fight, they do choose you. Because avoidants, a lot of times with fights, they can run away from that because they don't like fights. Usually, there's an emotional investment. So there is mutual respect and trust, but it's a desire to grow. And so they're gonna communicate that they want you to change too, because that's a desire to grow. And the last one is more about their behavior. A lot of times they're more open And the openness is slow. It's not like they randomly drop something open and they just disappear. Sometimes that happens. But slowly as the years go on, you're going to see that they are actually more open than they were when you first met them. And that's what's really important. So that's kind of what it looks like when they're invested in you. They're committed in you. When they want you, but there is no commitment. So they still want you, but the commitment is not there fully yet. You can start seeing that they might be romantic and expressive, but it's not always consistent. And it's different from when they're committed, because when they're committed, sometimes it's not even romantic or expressive, but it's slow and steady, but it is more romantic and expressive than when they first met you. Where it's wanted, it's like sometimes it's hot, sometimes it's cold. And some avoidants start like this, but it's usually if they're a fearful avoidant. Inconsistent texting is the next one. Unfortunately, this is common with both dismissive and fearful avoidance in the beginning of the relationship. But if they start trusting you, like within a couple months, even like a couple weeks, this goes away. Sometimes it doesn't even happen. I've told you guys this before. With my significant other, he was never like someone who was consistent with texting. But I didn't know that about him because when we met, he was never like that. And he told me he didn't want to be like that with me. And he just wanted to be very consistent and didn't want to go like a day without not talking to me. And so it can happen. They can change because they want to do better for that relationship. The next one is the focus tends to be more about attraction and temporary desire rather than full-on commitment. The motivation is that they usually want something from you. It's not a bad thing though. It's just, it could be attention. It could be physical intimacy. It can be validation. Validation. It can be convenience. It can be that they want to fill a void, whatever it is. But the motivation is not, I want to build something with this particular person. The next one is the nature is usually very short-term, surface level connection. The behavior that they behave like, the next part of this, is they mostly reach out when they need something from you or they enjoy the benefits that you provide, which is good, but they don't give it back necessarily. The next one is emotional investment. It's very low to none. It's not that they don't care about your feelings, so I don't want you guys to think that. It's just they try not to let that show or they don't have a reaction. Now, a lot of you guys are in a situation where your significant other has emotional investment, but you don't like how they act about it, and I don't blame you. Avoidants act kind of odd when they have emotional investment because they actually act much more avoidant. Like they actually are more argumentative sometimes. Sometimes they shut down more often, but that shows emotional investment. If they're very nonchalant and they don't really care, that could be more of a sign that they want you, but they're not committed to you. And the summary that I want to talk about, it's hard to summarize these points because there's like so many different points and subcategories. The best way to put it is wanting is kind of like a consumption type of behavior. They appreciate what you can give right now, but for it's a specific purpose and a specific benefit. It often can lead you to feeling used, but that's not always the case. It just, there's a very specific spot that you fit. Whereas if you're valued and loved, they appreciate who you are, but want to build onto that together. So I hope this video was helpful to somebody. Please like, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.